guys, welcome back to Lovin Dubai show where we go through the top trending stories that everyone across the country is talking about. Our top story for you today, the UAE vows to combat drug abuse.
As well, the Flag Garden is here.
Yes, it is. Also, big news, you can travel to Abu Dhabi from Dubai for 66 dirham in a shared taxi.
And I have a question. What would you do if your neighbor's dog barks all night?
Also, we had the TikTok CEO in town, and while he was here,
4 degrees and humidity with peak at 77%.
Let's just jump into our top stories today.
Well, the UAE vows to combat drug abuse. Now, in a significant move to combat drug abuse, the UAE's federal cabinet has approved a comprehensive national anti-drugs strategy aimed at achieving a drug-free nation by 2031. Now, the plan designed to reduce drug-related mortality rates was unveiled during a special cabinet session in Abu Dhabi this week.
The strategy introduces a range of initiatives aimed at strengthening community resilience against emphasizing responsible use of prescription medications and includes targeted awareness campaigns along with policies aimed at preventing addiction and promoting positive behavior.
The announcement was made on the sidelines of the UAE government annual meetings and was chaired by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President and Prime Minister of the UAE and ruler of Dubai.
Anything to keep drugs off the streets. We can see what a horrific effect they have in other countries. We're so lucky that it's not the case here, and it's amazing to see the leadership guiding that with a forward-thinking strategy.
Of course, and as well we know that the importance of early education regarding what drugs can do to you and how harmful they are is very important, and with those meetings that they do and those initiatives that they do to combat the drug, I think it's very important. However, I think as well that both come hand in hand. Like the country can help, the society can help. However, if the person does not really want to get the help themselves or understand how really it can negatively impact and affect their lives, I don't think it would help them, which is one thing that it's a very small thing that I got from my dentist that tells me all the time that, you know what, a lot of people do come in and do get treatment for their teeth. However, because they don't do it the right way, they come later on and blame the doctor. When in fact, like if both work together, you know, both work together. So I think it's very important to be very educated about it and to want to actually combat with the country.
Yes, so well done to the UAE for leading that strategy. Let's move into our next story. You've seen it on social. What a sight. It's very possible actually that you strolled along Kite Beach over the past weekend. You may have spotted some UAE flags and may have not known that you were in fact walking through an epic sky garden made up of 11,600 flags, proudly waving the UAE country, but actually the UAE flag. But the cool thing is that they all hold a deeper meaning.
Now, these flags from aerial portraits of our 2 leaders celebrating their remarkable contributions to the UAE's growth, it appears annually and is visually stunning both on the ground and from above. Now, the flags are arranged to create a portrait of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan celebrating his accession to office as President of the UAE.
UAE Flag Day happened on Sunday. It's a national occasion where people of the UAE remember the efforts of the founders of their state, Sheikh Zayed and Sheikh Rashid, along with their brothers who sacrificed everything for the sake of the nation. So it is a day where the national spirit is renewed, an opportunity to reflect on the achievements and of the era of the late President Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and it's truly a patriotic day when you see people raise their flags. This year, it was kind of celebrated on Friday in companies and offices, but you also saw it happening on Sunday, and this is when this flag garden comes up, and it leads us into the winter period. It leads us into National Day, and I stumbled on Kite Beach a couple. The aerial view and you're like, whoa, UAE, like take a bow again. You do not stop. It's so cool.
You know, you said one thing, Casey, that really is remarkable, that it's like winter as winter approaches, because it does remind me of winter. When I was back in university, I remember like I would be in class and I would be like texting my friends like if we are gonna after class go to Kite Beach so we can like see the flags and walk through and take some like beautiful cinematic shots. And feel like we are like on top of the world. But yeah, it just like reminds me of like winter and amazing UAE drinks that we're going to talk later about on the show.
Yeah, it's so cool. And I love how it's a brand Dubai initiative and they just drop it. Like there's no big announcement. It just comes and all of a sudden you're like, how has this not been like shouted about from the rooftops? But we're telling you, go and check it out. While the weather slowly but surely inches towards cool. Let's just jump into another story that also dropped yesterday, which we're pretty excited about.
Well, do you guys know that you can travel from Dubai to Abu Dhabi for only 66 dirhams? Well, yes, to make commuting between Dubai and Abu Dhabi more affordable and sustainable, Dubai's Roads and Transport Authority, or RTA, has launched a taxi sharing pilot service. Now, this new service will allow passengers to share rides between popular shopping destinations, Ibn Battuta Mall in Dubai and Al Wahda Mall in Abu Dhabi.
The initiative, which will run for 6 months, aims to provide a faster, more cost-effective travel option for commuters. Depending on its success, the service may expand to other locations, such as it may expand to other locations. Now, the Director of Planning and Business Development at the RTA shared that the 2 locations were selected after a thorough analysis of potential routes. It's also pretty much the major bus route, start to stop finish, from Dubai to Abu Dhabi. Shakri emphasized that the goal of the service is to reduce travel costs, particularly for frequent commuters between the 2 Emirates.
And as well, he said passengers can save significantly with the service, reducing costs by up to 75% when 4 riders share a taxi. Now, each passenger would pay just 66 dirhams compared to the full fare for a single rider. Now, the service as well offers different fare options based on the number of passengers. For 2 riders sharing, the fare is 132 dirhams per person, and if 3 passengers share the ride, the cost drops to 88 dirhams per rider. I love that. I really do, because I remember when I lived in Abu Dhabi, thank God I lived with a very close friend of mine. So like she was driving, I was kind of like scared of like driving between Abu Dhabi and Dubai, and I would like depend on her to go to Dubai, and she would depend as well on me. So if we knew that there's like a taxi, if there was like service like that, that would have been way easier for us, for sure.
So the bus is, I used to take the bus a fair amount of times. I think it's like 25 dirham, but for some reason there's something nicer about a taxi. You know who's going to love this? My mom, because absolutely, because that means she can go down to Abu Dhabi in the comfort of a taxi and she can talk to strangers and they won't be able to go anywhere. Like imagine, like she's just going to make best friends every day, and it's just going to make such an easier avenue for people. For example, my mom is a little bit older, she has time on her hands, she'd love to explore Abu Dhabi. She finds the bus a little bit uncomfortable. She's certainly done it a couple of times, but the fact that she can get a shared taxi service, I think this is so great. I think the fact that the UAE is looking for cheaper ways for people to get from A to B, and that they may even expand it if it all goes well. I think they might struggle getting 4 people into the taxi comfort-wise. I
mean, if it's like maybe a big taxi, I think, you know what, it would be really cool, because like if I want to go out with my friends for a staycation at Abu Dhabi and none of us want to drive,
100%,
right?
100%.
I'd be like, let's go grab a taxi. It's fine. So it's not going to be expensive.
Well, it would be the same. So if you have 4 friends, it's just going to be the same anyway, because you would share the cost. So you don't need to get the shared taxi. But this is for solo people, commuters, for example.
Yeah, well, I'd be like, you know what, you guys can pretend that we don't know each other or something. I don't know. But, you know, like I think that this is a very cool initiative. And as well, I know for sure that this is going to be helping a lot on the congestion that's going to be on the roads. You know, it's going to help with that. It's going to help with the environment as well. You know, like instead of having like 4 taxis going to Abu Dhabi, it's 1 taxi with 4 people in it. How cool is that?
It makes so much sense. Let's take a quick break for today with a fun fact. Did you know Lovin is based in 22 cities? It surprises even me. We have an amazing team of local journalists around the region bringing you the best positive stories and bite-sized news.
Well, you can get to know your region. You can find them on social, in daily newsletters, in podcasts, or even on your app. Find them wherever you get your news.
Jumping into our next story, what do you do if your neighbour's dog barks all night? It doesn't matter because they're so cute. No, we bring you a community dilemma. The question reads, hi, does anyone know what can be done about a neglected dog that barks all day? For months, I've had to listen to my neighbour's dog every time they're out of the house, which is a lot, unfortunately, I can hear it in my room, in every room of my apartment, and it'll go on for hours until they return home. We can't watch TV, can't relax, can't take work calls, can't even take a nap on the couch while it's going. This has been happening since the beginning of the year.
Well, the note continues saying, we've tried asking the neighbor and we're basically told to get lost. Since it's a pet-friendly community, we've tried security who can't really do much. And we've tried the community authority who can't do much else, but warn them. Now, spoiler, nothing has changed. Of course, calling police at this point seems petty, and I'm not sure how I'd approve or if they'd care. What do I do?
Oh, look at
what
your
would
doggy
you do?
barking. It doesn't matter.
Just
go say hi.
Exactly. I wouldn't do anything. It's like a dog, and haram, like he's probably like sad that his parents left.
No, I'll tell you, the apartment I just moved out of, our neighbours, they had this most adorable doggy, and I remember meeting it for the first time, and before we even knew about the barking, I was like, if you ever need someone to look after your dog, I'm here, just to like knock on the door. Then I realized that they didn't leave the dog wasn't alone that often, but every now and then when they left the house, the dog barked, and when I say barked, it was making noise to the point that it felt like the dog was banging the door nonstop.
No way.
Yeah, it was really, and it was funny because and then if I went up to my fridge, the barking got even louder because I guess they could see the shadows or something.
Oh my God.
Because we were getting close to the door. And then if you went right up to the door, the barking would stop. But it was like, imagine, for like hours.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah. And then you're thinking, like,
What's
this
happening?
poor doggy. At the beginning, we just thought it was like this wild banging, but it's a banging, barking dog, and you nearly want to like look after it. So I think maybe you talk to your neighbours and I don't know, because maybe if you don't want to look after the dog, I'm not sure what you should do. But everyone, obviously, the internet jumped in with lots of opinions and responses.
But Katie, that's so nice of you to offer your neighbors to look after the dog.
Well, that was at the very beginning, but actually the conversation never renewed after that, so I never actually did it. So it's not really. It was my initial thing was like, if you ever need it. But what I should have done in hindsight is put a note onto the door saying, hey, if you're ever leaving, happy to take care of the doggy.
I know, but like
it's a tricky one.
I mean, it is, but like I'm just like saying, because like it's very nice of you to really say that. I would never. I'd be like, they probably don't want me around their dog. That's what I would assume.
It's just when you meet a cute dog, you'll say, I say to everyone I meet.
But haram, I know it's like haram, like
I'll take it.
I'll take it if you want to. You can leave every day, all the time, from 5 a.m.
I'll take it to work.
10 p.m. It's fine. I'll take care of the dog. I don't mind. But seriously, it breaks my heart when I see like a dog is left alone at the house. I would definitely recommend that they would put the dog at like a daycare or like a caring.
It's really tricky because like daycare, like this could be in the evenings, maybe the doggy is in daycare, maybe the person works from home and they're just going out for an evening, and a lot of places in Dubai don't allow pets. It's a real tricky one. One of the most fair comments said, can you try to write a nice letter about the ways the dog is suffering, give them a few solutions, options, and offer them if they ever need help without judging them. It feels a better way to approach, to be empathetic with them and not just like and basically not kind of like accusing them. It would just be a more healthy approach to just go in, lead nicely and say, hey, is there anything I can do to help? Yada, yada, yada. And also, by the way,
your dog is
super anxious.
I mean, it's very sad because like if my dog would ever behave that way, if I leave, I would never leave. I'd be like, bye, I'm so sorry, I'm leaving everything, but I'm never leaving you.
Yeah,
I'd be very sad.
It's a real tricky one. I totally empathize because I know that dogs here, especially a lot of people rehome dogs, therefore they come with anxious behaviors because they've come from living on the streets, and they have those attachment issues. So it's like, and you can't just not leave home, so you have to do a lot of training. So I kind of see both sides of the situation, but I guess if it is your neighbor and if it's really like this sounds like it's OTT, you probably have to have a conversation with them, because like you're not going to call the police over this. It's got to be a human-to-human conversation. Speaking of conversation, what makes conversation better? Let's jump into our next story.
Well, before we jump, I want to ask you a question. Do you know karak? And I don't mean like any karak. I mean like actual authentic UAE karak.
I mean, I know, I know the ones when we get the cartons to the office.
No.
And it's like a warm hug.
Okay, well, I'm sorry to say that. If you think that is karak, I don't think you know what real karak is, because the TikTok CEO, Shu approved of karak. He tried karak and he approved of it and he loved it. And you know, we know that karak, it's an iconic drink in the UAE. It's a blend of strong tea, condensed milk, and a touch of cardamom. And of course, if you try it, it does not disappoint, because the TikTok CEO did say it does not disappoint.
Okay, so
because of that, I know for a fact that, you know what, you don't know the taste of real karak. And when I say karak, it's a whole vibe. Like for example, like what me and my friends and what everyone in the UAE does, we go to the cafeteria. And we're like, you know, wrapped up in blankets, and we have like our chairs and everything. We get the karak, and we go sit at the beach, and we sip on the karak as we are gossiping. So we might not be at the beach. We might not be at the beach. But
what's this? What's that you've prepared earlier?
Karak.
Okay, where did this come from?
I can't tell you. It's a secret. I can't tell you.
But let me
one for you.
Let me get up the names of the ones I've tried, because I don't want you to shade the delicious ones that I've had in the office. Because you know, we've like Simon's brought a couple in, and of course I've been here over the years. I've had like the 1 dirham. Well, when they were 1 dirham karak.
Yeah.
But you're saying no.
I mean, look, my favorite karak place is
Chaiwala. That's good karak.
That is good karak.
Yeah,
not bad. But my favorite one is the one from Philly. It's a cafeteria in Kite Beach. I like it.
I've had Philly.
And then there is the one from Ijaza Cafeteria. It's the
I've never had that.
Ijaza Cafeteria. Oh my god, my favorite. So, without further ado, I'm going to be pouring some karak for you.
You really built this up now, because like I love the stuff that we've had in the office, so I don't see how this is going to be different.
So this looks like actual karak.
Actual karak, what's the difference?
Because like some karaks can be...
It's so nice.
Hold on, so what we do is, what my friends and I... Yeah. So my friends and I do, you know, like we're probably like wrapped up in blankets. And then we sit like that and we go like, so, how's your love life going?
Fixing.
This is really good.
So for like Irish tea is a big thing.
Okay.
And it looks like this because I think like traditionally we'll have it super milky, super sugary. But this has got that little spice. This feels like a Christmas tea. Like
it does.
It feels like a special, like, as in comparison to Irish tea, which is like more bland. The little spice in this makes it a real cozy hug. It's definitely a lot sweeter.
I mean, to be honest with you, it is a winter. It becomes more prominent, you know, during like November, December, right? Which is around Christmas. And even like in Christmas markets, you will find karak.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Literally, I went to a Christmas market last winter, and I remember having like, you know, like some booths with like, you know, like karak, and I'd be like, okay,
well,
okay, Santa Claus, I'll have some
drinks.
karak.
I didn't realize you'd find karak. Anyway, cheers to that. It is 8:51 on a Tuesday morning, which means it's time to welcome our next guest. It is Visa Talks with Decisive Zone. Today we're discussing navigating free zones and also why the UAE is a hotspot for entrepreneurs. guys, welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. Today's guests are Siley Salvi and Kyle from Decisive Zone, back in studio to talk about why the UAE has become such a hotspot for businesses and entrepreneurs around the world. We're also going to deep dive into free zones in the UAE and answer any questions you might have. Welcome, guys, to the show. Thank you so much for being here on a Tuesday morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
It's Tuesday. It's great to have Decisive Zone back in the studio. Today, we're asking you, why are so many businesses choosing to set up in the UAE? What is unique about the UAE's ecosphere in comparison to other countries around the world?
Honestly, the fact that it is tax friendly, I would say. If you compare to the other countries, here and you have zero income tax. And there are taxes, I wouldn't say that it's completely tax free. Like you have 9% corporate tax and 5% value added tax compared to other part of the world, which is like very less.
And also add to that fact that there are many global hubs here in the UAE, especially for networking events and such, that connects various entrepreneurs and investors alike that are happening almost every month in the country, which is a perfect...
Could we put a number on it?
See, again, if you see all the European countries, the number of tax that, like the percentage of tax that they pay is more than 40%. But here, if you compare, 9% is the corporate tax, which is like very less.
And for small businesses?
So basically, we have consultants like ourselves to carefully explain to our clients how to ensure that they get the most benefits of setting up the businesses here. So it's either only 0% or 9% corporate taxes, depending on your net profit. So there are various thresholds, but it's no more or less the
strategy. Okay, if you see that, it connects very well with the east and the west where we are. So any trade that has to happen towards the west, towards from the Indian side or anything, like because we are placed in a location like this, it becomes very convenient. So a lot of people who wants to deal into the European market, they set up a business here in UAE. I mean the Indians, Asians, Pakistanis and everyone, I'm referring to them. So because of the location where we are located right now, it adds us Dubai. Yeah. And when you have to select a free zone, I would say it completely depends upon the requirements that you have for your business. So it would be like something like the activity that you choose for your business or the number of visas that you want. Because not every free zone would have the activity that you're looking for. Certain free zones are specifically for certain activities only. Like you see, the name itself explains it, like production city if you talk about media city. So there are different free zones that specialize on certain things. So depending upon your requirements, you can choose which free zone you want to go ahead with.
And to add on top of that, this is where consultants like us exist, because navigating the UAE in terms of your next business location is quite daunting, confusing, and overwhelming at the same time, with a lot of information and possibly rumors around that you can find on the internet or from hearsay. So basically, us consultants, we provide narrow description into everything. We always ask questions towards our clients or entrepreneurs to ensure that we give them the right direction, and in terms of consulting them into the right path in terms of 22. If you are opting to go with the mainland jurisdiction and you're planning to go for a commercial activity or trading activity sometimes, you would have to go to the 51% and 49% split between an expatriate and a local sponsor or a local partner. But now there has been a legislative amendment during the 2000
help businesses run more smoothly. Are there benefits in place in logistics or tech to help companies kind of just operate better?
See, when we look at tech also, there are so many events like Kyle said that are happening, networking events. Right now, like just I think last month we had GITEX and things like that, where global like tech giants were there representing their companies, and even they are moving to UAE. So I believe like the environment is going to become more where they can foster, support each other and collaborate together, and it would be helpful for the businesses.
Yeah, and in certain free zones, they are sometimes industry-specific free zones. Like if you would look, for example, Dubai Healthcare City, so you would know from the get-go what's the primary industry that's being set up on that area, because they have state-of-the-art infrastructures, which also provides logistics and trading companies alike.
If Dubai Healthcare City Free Zone makes sense for my business operations, do I still need to operate from there directly, or can I choose to operate somewhere else in the city?
So there are free zones that offer some sort of flexibility. Some free zones allow a no objection certificate for you to have a facility outside the free zone, but that is normally that really depends on the regulations from within free zones. It's each different free zones have their own different regulations and such. So you can sometimes get a facility outside of it, but most of the time you are only allowed to get the facility from within.
And who runs the free zones? Are they all authority government led?
Yes, they are.
So speaking of flexibility in free zones, is that the same when it comes to office space and what's available in terms of visas, or does that also depend on the free zone that you're choosing?
Again, it depends upon the free zone that you're choosing. So if you ask me, a lot of free zones in Dubai right now, they are giving flexi desk and spaces free along with the trade license. And a lot of other free zones are giving visas free. On that, you will select a free zone and you get a lot of other things with that.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. I think we've got the lowdown on free zones, but I just understand that it's quite an overwhelming.
It is, yeah.
Especially for new entrepreneurs. But we know Decisive Zone and also the UAE is always there to help and guide new entrepreneurs, which leads us into asking, like, how supportive would the UAE be towards new foreign investment? So for people watching who are potentially abroad, what is the UAE doing to help foreign investment?
See, there are so many initiatives that even the government is taking. Like, if you want to set up your business, there are places where you can approach. Like, the visas are very easy to get here, okay? Not just that. If you're setting up a business, it's very easy to sponsor your family also. If you look at other countries, the paperwork and everything is going to be so hectic that you're going to spend years and years just figuring out things. But here, you just set up your business, you do your visa, like you stamp, even the documentation. If you want to set up a business, what do you think? What documents would you require? It would be like very hectic, right? No, it's just your passport copy that you need, a photocopy, and the name that you need for your company. That basic document, you can initiate the process to start your company. And once the company setup is done, we can initiate with your visa process. Once the visa process is done, we start with your bank account. And then you have everything in place to run your business.
Interesting. This is why Decisive Zone do make things that bit easier.
It is, yeah, we do.
So if my business grows and I want to hire more people, back a little bit into free zones, which setup, free zone or mainland, would give me more flexibility? Like, are those the types of decisions I need to be thinking of early on in terms of free zone choices?
Well, it's good to grant you more visa quotas into your business. If you're on the former, on the other hand, it's much better to do it in a free zone, because even though it's much more limited in terms of granting you visas, it's still much cost effective in order for you to do so. I mean, regardless of your option, you can always expand to another business to further extend the network of your presence in the region.
What are we talking in terms of numbers there, in terms of visas, mainland versus free zone?
Normally, it's between 6 to 7 visas for a free zone setup, but some free zones are now allowing up to 50 visas.
You know, because over 6, 7 visas, you're probably inching towards mainland status.
Exactly.
And if I want to expand my business to all Emirates, would I have the freedom with a mainland setup in comparison to a free zone, or does that even matter?
It doesn't really matter, to be honest. You can open branches and subsidiaries all across the Emirate, as long as you have the proper documentations present that you can present to the related or respective authority in that specific jurisdiction that you're expanding to.
Everything free zone. If you have any questions for Decisive Zone, how can they reach out to you guys?
They can reach out to us. Our office is located in Bay Square Business Bay, and you can reach out to us on Instagram as well.
Thank you so much. Kyle and Sally from Decisive Zone, I really appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
This brings us into our next guest. We got to sit down with the conductor for Ministry of Sound, David Mahoney. They're coming to the Coca-Cola this weekend, and this is what he said about what it's like to bring a large-scale event to Dubai. Take a listen. Welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. Today's guest is David Mahoney, conductor for Ministry of Sound. He'll be performing at the Coca-Cola Arena for the first time on November 9th. The concerts blend classic and contemporary music. It's an absolute blast, and this is an experience you don't want to miss. Here to tell us all about it, David, well, on Zoom, in fact. Welcome, David, to the show. How are you doing?
Good, Casey. Thanks for having me.
Let's get down to it. For people who don't know, can you introduce them to what Ministry of Sound is?
Well, Ministry of Sound, obviously an iconic British dance music brand set up as a club in Elephant and Castle, just down the road from where I am in London at the moment, actually, back in 1991. Went on to become the cultural institution of dance music of the time. Famous, of course, for its compilation albums. I think there's some facts that I looked up. I think the Annual 2, which was a big compilation album, is still the best-selling dance music compilation of all time, and the first one to ever sell 1 million copies. So it's a huge brand that we're working with. And this show, Ministry of Sound Classical, brings that experience to new life, if you like, reimagined and relived with a full orchestra.
It sounds wild, like as you said, it's an institution of music. But if I'm to go to Coquerilla, what can I expect? Am I sitting? Am I standing? Am I dancing?
If you were sitting, I would be very disappointed. Standing, you are partying, you are raving. We've got full orchestra on stage. We've got screens, lights, lasers, sensational vocalists, pyrotechnic. It's the full shebang. It's an incredible, energetic experience. We've been touring this show around the festival circuit in the UK, and the energy that you get back from the audience is just something like I've never experienced before. You know, I'm an orchestral conductor, so I'm not used to this kind of these wild crowds going for it. But it's just a completely unique experience that you can't really describe. You just have to be there and to experience it yourself.
How did you find your way as an orchestral conductor into Ministry of Sound, and like how does that differ? What was that jump like?
It was quite something. So most of my work is conducting film with live orchestra shows. So I was kind of across that kind of the crossover of, I wasn't necessarily a classical music conductor, but working with orchestras, a lot of film scores. And then the opportunity came along, and I spoke to my wife about it. And she's obviously very supportive of everything I do, of course. But I've never seen her more excited when I told her about the opportunity to conduct this gig, because it's basically it's her life. She lives for this kind of music. So rest assured, she accompanies me on every single Ministry of Sound classical gig, which is quite nice.
Well, watching it live must be one thing, but can you give us like what's it like behind the scenes? There's you as a conductor, but you mentioned pyrotechnics, you mentioned a full orchestra. How many people, how many man hours are going into creating this show that we're just going to see for one night only, by the way?
It's a huge team, incredible team of people. The show has been, put together over the last kind of 5 or 6 years. But this is the culmination of a lot of hard work behind the scenes from incredible orchestrators, producers, and of course the instrumentalists themselves and the singers. So there's probably a core team of about 50, 60 people just on the day itself, and then that's not including all the background stuff. We do annually we perform this show at the Royal Albert Hall. It's become a kind of annual fixture in the events calendar there. And you go to that show and you realize, actually, wow, it takes a huge amount of people to put this together. I stand at the front, wave my arms around and make the orchestra play in time and sort of chat to the audience during the show. But I am just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to to what's involved in putting this huge show together.
What a boss job to have, I must say. And what about the song compilations? Tell us a bit about the team behind that, and like give us some bangers, give us some classics that we can look forward to.
Well, it's about an hour and a half show, and we managed to squeeze pretty much every iconic 90s dance track into that time.
Love it.
Way that it's been put together is so clever. It's sort of in what we call suites. So you have sort of 6 sections of the show, if you like, running through the entire history of dance music. You're talking anything from Chemical Brothers, Hey Boy, Hey Girl, Dario G, Sunshine. Faithless is our big closer. There's a bit of a secret, which I'm not going to give away. You have to come to the show to watch it, that we we mix in with Insomnia at the end. Fatboy Slim, one of my personal favourites as a proud Welshman. Our football team, the Wales football team, the iconic track for their walkout music is Zombie Nation, great dance track. So that's a particular favourite of mine in the show. But and then it moves through to sort of the more recent sort of poppy vocal hits. We got three incredible singers who join us, and it's just basically a whistle-stop tour of the history of dance music, something for everyone, and it's just a completely unique, breathtaking experience.
So cool. And how set are the suites? For example, you're coming to the UAE for the first time. We have a very diverse audience, and no doubt you'll get a very mixed crowd. So, like, is there a hack as a conductor or as an orchestra? Like, would you ever change something midway if you felt that the audience wasn't vibing?
Sadly, unlike a DJ, I like to think that as conducting the show, it's the closest I'll come to actually being a DJ. I don't quite have that flexibility because it's much harder to get sort of a 50-piece orchestra to sort of change midway. But the set has been kind of tweaked over the years to kind of really balance it, and it works the crowd incredibly well. And I'm sure that'll translate to our Dubai audience as well.
So exciting. Before you leave us, you mentioned Royal Albert Hall, which I'm sure is a highlight, but do you have any personal memory that stands out from your time with Ministry of Sound?
Every single show is completely unique because of the surroundings that we're in. I love the festival circuit and touring all the festivals around the UK. My first ever show still lives in the memory because we were in Hampton Court Palace in South London, so not where you expect to do an outdoor dance music show, but the weather was absolutely horrific. But if anything, it added to the experience, and the crowd just completely went for it. They got absolutely drenched. It was my first ever show. I wasn't quite sure what I was getting myself in for, but I came off that stage completely buzzing. It was an incredible experience, and that was the start of my ministry journey, and it's been really exciting ever since. How
epic. Like dancing in the rain, you can't beat it. Well, there'll be no rain in Dubai, but other than that, you've sold me for sure. Cannot wait to see all of Dubai down at the Ministry of Sound performing at the Coca-Cola Arena November the 9th. Thank you so much, David Mahoney, who is the conductor, and he'll be there on the night. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Casey.
Guys, that was David Mahoney, conductor of the Ministry of Sound. He'll be performing at the Coca-Cola Arena November 9th. It sounds like an absolute blast. You don't want to miss this. I'll see you there.